For a lot of tennis players, recovery is just, what happens after all the real work is done. It's an afterthought. But what if I told you that's completely backward? What if recovery isn't just about resting, but it's actually your most powerful strategic weapon? In this explainer, we're going to flip the script and turn recovery from something you do when you're tired into an active, game-changing part of your training. All right, let's get into it.
So let's just start with a number that should make every single player sit up and listen. 33%. That's the drop-off in serving accuracy that players see after just one single night of bad sleep. I mean, think about that. You can spend weeks, even months, perfecting your service motion, but one bad night of recovery can wipe out a third of all that hard work. This isn't just about feeling a little groggy. We're talking about a real, measurable hit to your performance. The lack of recovery, it shows up on the scoreboard.
And that leads us right into what I call the recovery paradox. We're all taught to believe that more hours, more drills, more grinding always leads to better results. But honestly, that's a dangerous myth. Pushing your body to its absolute limit without a smart plan to rebuild it isn't being tough. It's a one-way ticket to fatigue, burnout, and, injury. Now this visualizes the paradox perfectly. On the left, you've got your training volume just climbing and climbing. And on the right, for a little while, your performance goes right up with it. It feels great. But then, you hit that wall, that plateau. And if you just keep pushing, thinking harder is better, your performance doesn't just stall, it takes a nosedive. That downward arrow, that's overtraining in a nutshell. It's the point where all your hard work starts to actually hurt you.
And hey, if you think this is only a problem for club players or weekend warriors, check out this stat from the USTA. More than a quarter of all Olympians, we're talking the absolute best of the best, feel like they've overdone it and are actually underperforming when it matters the most. It just goes to show you that mastering recovery is the real final frontier in sports, and it's a challenge for absolutely everyone.
So if we're going to build a recovery strategy, we have to know what we're up against. And fatigue isn't just one thing. It's like a multi-front attack on your game. This table breaks it down really well. First, you've got metabolic fatigue. Basically, your fuel tank is on empty after a long match. You're walking slower, your shoulders are slumped. Then there's neurological fatigue. This is when your brain and your nervous system are just fried. Your feet feel like they're stuck in mud, and you start making dumb decisions. And finally, psychological fatigue. That mental weight that just crushes your confidence. A good recovery plan has to fight all three of these at once.
So where do we even start? We start with the absolute basics. Before we get into any of the fancy gadgets or techniques, we have to nail the 3 non-negotiable pillars of recovery. Seriously, these are the foundation everything else is built on. Hydration, nutrition, and sleep. If you get these wrong, nothing else is going to matter.
You think hydration is just about not feeling thirsty? Well, think again. Just a 2% loss in your body weight from dehydration doesn't just make you weaker, it actually messes with your brain. For a tennis player, that is a disaster. It's that split-second hesitation, that choice to go cross-court when down the line was open. It's all those tiny mental errors that cost you big points, all because you didn't drink enough water.
So how do you keep track of it? Well, you don't need any fancy tech. This is so brilliantly simple. The USTA put out this urine color chart. Look, if you're in those top 3 light-colored zones, you're good to go. But if you're consistently in the darker zones, well, you are literally sabotaging your own performance before you even step foot on the court. It's a simple 5-second check-in you can do every single day.
Okay, next up is nutrition. And with this, timing is everything. 45 minutes. I want you to burn that number into your brain. This is your golden window of opportunity, right after a match or a tough practice. It's when your muscles are like sponges, just ready to soak up nutrients and start repairing themselves. If you miss this window, you're setting your recovery way, way back. And what should you be eating in that window? This slide gives you this simple, powerful formula. You're aiming for about 200 to 400 calories, with a 4-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein. You need those fast-acting carbs to restock your muscle fuel right away. And the examples here are classics for a reason. Chocolate milk has that perfect ratio. A simple sandwich works great. See? It doesn't have to be complicated to be incredibly effective.
In the final pillar, sleep. We started this whole thing talking about how a lack of it tanks your serve, but the benefits are huge. 79 hours of quality sleep isn't a luxury, it's a critical training session. This is when your body is releasing growth hormone to repair muscle, it's when your brain is hardwiring new skills like that backhand you've been working on, and it's when you recharge your mental batteries. I mean, if Roger Federer made getting 10 to 12 hours a night a priority, it's probably a good idea for the rest of us.
Okay, so once you have that foundation of hydration, nutrition, and sleep totally locked down, then you can start adding some extra tools to your toolkit.
These are things that can really accelerate the process and get you back to 100% even faster.
A huge favorite among pros is contrast water therapy, and the science behind it is actually pretty cool. Like this slide shows, when you switch between cold water and hot water, you're creating this pumping action in your blood vessels. The cold makes them squeeze tight, and the hot makes them open up. This cycle literally flushes all that metabolic junk and lactic acid out of your muscles, which can make a huge difference in how sore you feel the next day.
And here are 2 really simple ways you can do it. For a full-on cold bath, the sweet spot is between 50 and 59 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it's a shock to the system, but it's amazing for that deep muscle soreness. A much gentler and, let's be honest, more pleasant option is an Epsom salt bath. The magnesium in the salt is a natural muscle relaxant that actually gets absorbed through your skin.
Now, your diet should always come first, but a few key supplements can give you some targeted support. These 3 are especially great for tennis players. Collagen helps keep your joints and tendons healthy, and they take a real beating in tennis. Glutamine helps speed up muscle repair and also gives your immune system a little boost. And magnesium is an absolute must for preventing cramps and making sure your nerves are firing on all cylinders.
Let's quickly compare 2 other really popular tools. Think of foam rolling as your immediate problem solver. It's like giving yourself a deep tissue massage right after you play to work out any knots and tightness. Compression garments, on the other hand, are for the long game. You wear them for hours after you're done to improve circulation, reduce muscle damage, and really cut down on that heavy, tired feeling you might have the next day. One's for now, the other's for tomorrow.
So far, we've been focused pretty much entirely on the body, but the most elite recovery plans go deeper. This is where we take recovery from being just a physical chore and turn it into a real tactical advantage by connecting it to your mind and your on-court strategy.
This quote from the USTA really says it all, doesn't it? Here's the key takeaway. Training doesn't build you up. It actually breaks you down. It's the recovery that builds you back stronger. So recovery isn't the opposite of training. It's the other half of the equation that lets all your hard work actually show up in your game.
This leads us to a really next-level concept called tactical periodization. This is all about customizing your recovery to your specific game style. Just think about it. An aggressive serve and volleyer who's making tons of short, explosive sprints has totally different recovery needs than a defensive baseliner who's grinding out 30-shot rallies. The baseliner needs to focus on refueling, while the volleyer needs to focus on nervous system recovery. Your recovery plan stops being generic and becomes tailored specifically to you.
And of course, we cannot forget the mind. The first warning sign of bad recovery is almost always mental. It's this thing called staleness, that feeling where you lose focus and maybe don't love the game quite as much. If you ignore that, it can spiral into full-on burnout. And what's the antidote? Planned, strategic rest. Taking at least one mandatory rest day a week isn't lazy. It's a critical move to keep your mind sharp and hungry.
Okay, so we've gone through the science, the strategy, now it's time to put it all together. Let's build a simple, step-by-step blueprint that you can start using after your very next match. Here it is, your immediate post-match checklist. Don't just pack up your bag and leave. Step 1, refuel and rehydrate inside that 45-minute window. Step 2, do an active cooldown. A light jog or spin on a bike helps clear out all that waste from your muscles way better than just sitting down. Step 3, static stretching to help your muscles get back to their normal length. And step 4, if you can, hop in a cold bath or a contrast shower to start fighting inflammation right away.
And remember, recovery isn't just about what you do right after a match. It's about how you build your whole week. This is your long game strategy. You've got to schedule at least one full rest day and protect it. Mix in some active rest like yoga or swimming. After your toughest sessions, wear those compression garments overnight. And finally, keep a simple log. Seriously, tracking your sleep, your energy, your mood, it's the single best way to spot the signs of overtraining before they become a real problem.
So we'll end with this one question. Every single player out there spends countless hours working on their forehand, their backhand, their serve, but what if the biggest room for improvement isn't on the court at all? It's time to stop seeing recovery as just downtime and start treating it as your ultimate strategic weapon. Train it with the same focus, the same intention, and the same dedication as every other part of your game.